All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our channel. We are talking today with Jake Wilson, aka JaegerNoon, official winner of the Lightseekers Regional tournament in Scotland. Hi, Jake.
Hey guys.
So I imagine you were pretty buzzing on Saturday. How's it feel now that a couple of days have passed?
Yeah, it feels really good, but all I want to do is play more Lightseekers.
Yeah. When do you reckon you'll get to play again now then?
Well, there's another Road to Regional this weekend on Saturday
Yeah.
in Ashford, so I'm thinking about either going there or just going back to my local club for a little bit.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Mellow out. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, go on, Anya.
So to start off, could you give us a bit of your gaming history and in general, and more specifically to do with Lightseekers?
Okay, cool. So I've been playing TCGs for a long time, but nothing competitively. Mostly Pokemon when I was a kid.
All right. Okay.
I was 10 when Pokemon came out, so that was like my thing. And then Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit later, but didn't really do any competitions for anything until about 3 to 4 years ago, when I started playing Pokemon properly, and I picked up card games again. I'd stopped playing card games for all that time.
Right. Okay. Did you play many other games as well, or is it just card games that you're into?
Miniature games was my thing. So like Warhammer, I played a game by Privateer Press.
Right. Okay.
Called like War Machine and Hordes. So yeah, tabletop gaming was really my thing. Yeah. But I saw an advertisement for Pokemon, and I thought, right, if I'm going to do it, I'll get back into it properly. So I bought a couple of boxes and thought, right, it kind of introduced me to the whole tournament scene, just of like competitive card gaming in general. I hadn't really seen it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And for Lightseekers, I picked it up last summer. I'm not really sure. I can't really remember how I stumbled onto it. But I'm sure it's on the internet late at night and just seeing an advert for it or something.
I mean, that's a similar story to us. Like, I remember seeing it at UK Games Expo, but there seemed to be quite a strong focus on the toys. Didn't really notice that there was a card game involved with it as well. And then, obviously, some months later, I obviously spotted it and started playing.
That's it. Yeah, it's almost like I woke up with a tech deck next to me, right? And it's just
yeah.
It's just like, okay, yeah, let's roll from this.
Yeah. Cool. All right, go on, Anya.
Is there much going on locally? Like, do you have just a group of small friends that you play with?
Yeah, well, I run the Eastbourne Lightseekers League down here, so we've got a store that runs it every Saturday. So yeah, we just run casual tournaments, and we've got a Road to Regional coming up as well. And PlayFusion were kind enough to come down to our shop last year, and they brought all demo decks down and kind of held like a Lightseekers Day. And that was really good. They've been so good at supporting the local community as well.
I think that's true up and down the country, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're really good at promoting the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that once players see that it's getting that support from the company too, they're keen to invest in it because they know they're going to get that return via like attention and kind of organised play and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's great to see them on Twitch as well playing. Let you know that they're enthusiastic about the game as well.
Yeah, definitely. They're playing the game. Yeah, it's not just like a money spinner or anything. You know, everyone's really keen about the game, the balance, the fluff, the lore, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Do you play much online via the OLL?
I don't, unfortunately. I'm on the OLL, but I only have a tablet. I don't have a laptop, so it makes it very hard to kind of position playing games because I can't kind of see it and show the board state, and I don't have like a tripod or anything. So I tried it once, and it was such hassle.
Well. I mean, I must admit, I played my first game on there yesterday via webcam, and it is hard to tell what the other person's playing. Like, if you don't know every card inside and out, you know, it can be really like, what have you played and what does it do, and
that's right.
Knowledge in your head as well, you know.
Yeah, and I like to look at my opponent's face as well when I play, because I think like people have got tells, and I think it becomes like it becomes a game of like trying to predict what your opponent's going to play and things like that. And if I can't see their face and their hand all the time, it becomes a bit difficult to try and work out like what's actually going on at all. Yeah,
almost like a bit of a poker player kind of move.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Well, obviously we want to hear about the deck that you played at the tournament as well. So do you want to just quickly run through the deck list? We'll post it in the details for this video so people can see it. And I know Play Fusion are going to release the list, I think, today as well. But if you could just give us a quick rundown on it.
Yeah, I actually don't have the deck with me at the moment, but yeah, from what I can remember, so my hero's Granite.
Yeah.
And I guess since you got the deck list, I'll just run over like the kind of general concept of the deck and how.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
So Granite's a particularly unique hero because his passive states that once the deck is empty, the other players receive 5 more damage. So that's 5 more damage for everything that happens.
Yeah.
So the kind of main goal of my deck is to draw through as quickly as possible to create a defensive state early game with emergency systems and mountain forts and unruly mobs.
Okay.
To slow down your opponent's attack, to heal once they deal damage to you, and of course to reduce that damage as well. Mm-hmm. And just the combination of those 3 can be very oppressive to the opponent because all of a sudden they don't want to play down a 4 damage card because you just reduce that by 3 and then heal for 7.
Yeah, cool.
So they don't want to do it. And that's great for me because the longer that they take to make actions, the more opportunity I have to draw. Yeah. So basically that's pretty much the majority of my early to mid game is just to draw through as quickly as possible, to use Hurricane Spirits and then to use Stubborn Everok to, once Hurricane Spirit's down, play Stubborn Everok, activate Hurricane Spirit. It doesn't rotate out.
Yeah. So you're playing dual order then, yeah?
Yeah. I play 3. So I use Sleepy Crab Staff, which gives me access to air element, and I use Forgewall, which gives me access to the mechanical side tech as well.
And that'll give you damage reduction as well, I imagine, when you've got.
It does, yeah. And the very last game came down to the very last card, and if it wasn't for Forgewall, I would have lost the tournament. So
okay.
So yeah, that was they really pulled its weight right at the end.
Yeah.
And then so the final stage of the game is to play combos, and you use Swooping Corvids, which is a blue air buff that on its 3rd corner reduces combo costs by 3.
Yeah.
That means we can play big, heavy combos for free or for 1 card, which then we draw back up as part of the combo action anyway.
Yeah.
So we always remain an empty deck. And then you hit your opponent for 17 damage, and then 17 damage again.
Yeah.
And what I find how people play against it is often Hurricane Spirit returns cards from their opponent's hand back to their deck. Because I don't do damage early game, people always return their healing cards or any mitigation back to their deck.
Yeah. And
then once the damage starts, they don't have these in hand. So often people might just only be able to heal for 6, and then you go, fine, take 17 damage again.
Yeah.
And of course, Unruly Mob comes into play a bit more because instead of taking 1 damage, they take 6 damage when they attack.
Right, yeah.
I've had a couple out before because I run 2 in the deck. And I've had there was a few games in this regional where my opponent perhaps has played like a Dust Fiend against me for 4 damage, and I'm like, right, I take 4, you take 12 back, and then it's like, right, now it's my turn, 17 damage, and it's and it just becomes a state where it's almost impossible to play against at that point.
Yeah, of course. I suppose it's just a case of staying alive long enough, and then once your deck's empty, they've got no chance, really.
That's it. Yeah, it's just because you can't heal. You can't heal that damage. You can't heal that damage off. There were a couple of people second game who kind of clocked it a little bit. Started saving their defense mitigation, their damage mitigation out. But I run 1 Thunder Slug, so that stays in play, and so I don't have to waste an action on my empty deck turns to get rid of their things. I can play it down and then just let Thunder Slug tick away at their mountain forts, their Moss Ridge defend, bubble fishes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, or sometimes you can just power through them. Even like.
I suppose if you're doing 17 damage in a turn, then you don't need to worry too much about a bubble fish.
That's it, yeah. And running, I run Earthquake as a buff as well, and that was mainly to get around cards like Subjugator,
right?
I don't know his name, but there's a Dread buff. I didn't come up. I didn't play any Dread at this tournament, but there's a Dread buff that states you can't be attacked either. Yeah. So it's a way to play these buff down, and that just deals damage, and it does like 10 damage a turn, so it ticks at 10 each time. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because then, again, you can combine that with like 17 damage or 15 damage. It's like 25 damage a turn. Yes, it's really good. It's really good.
Excellent. Well, before we get on to the actual tournament, when you start putting a deck together, do you generally start with the hero? Like in this case, you just think, right, Granite's got this great ability. That's what I want to use. How am I going to get to it? Or is it a case of, oh, no, some nice combos here. Which hero can I use to support? You know, just where do you start when you're building a deck?
Well, when I saw Granite, I was like, it's got to be Granite. You know, so I think Granite requires a deck specifically for himself. I don't think, you know, if you put like Dolo in here, you just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
You need Granite, but often, So very first thing I'll do is look at combos, really, and what combos pay for what combos and how well they perform with each other.
Yeah.
Then once that's done, you can look at like what hero best works this out. So, for instance, with my tech deck, that's a bit different because I think it works well with a couple of heroes, and it's kind of like pick your poison. Do you like Zuna, Ipex, like Olax and stuff like that? Cool. So there's a few there that kind of it depends on your play style, really.
Yeah.
But if the core of the deck is good, then it'll be fine. But for Granite was a particular build. Start from the hero, work the combos, and then work its way down like that.
Yeah. It has a nice bonus, of course, of starting with 32 health, which, you know, not to be sniffed at.
Some players mentioned that to me at the tournament. They were surprised that such a powerful ability came with such a high health.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess that's just how it is.
Yeah, of course. All right.
So we can talk about the tournament now. Do you know how many players were there?
Yeah, there was 18 players there.
So the experience we've had at Road to Regionals tournaments is that a lot of the people who attend those tournaments are kind of new to the game. Maybe they've brought untested decks and they're not so experienced. Was that kind of how it felt at the regional, or was it a bit more like everybody's got a serious deck here?
Right, I think top 8 was definitely like that. You know, people, because there was me and 2 other Road to Regional winners who were in top 8, and there were some other people there who had who had kind of decks that they'd put together pretty much from scratch. They'd thought about it. But there were a lot of people who were playing a kind of like a starter deck plus.
Yeah.
So they'd get the deck and then there'd be like a few modifications into it. And that would be enough. And I think it's just testament to Play Fusion, actually, and like how good the starter decks are, that they can actually hold their weight. You know, even against like fully built decks.
Yeah.
They play well. You know, if you play well, the deck plays well. And so that's it's really good. I guess it's a really good entry point for people to buy into. But so that's it. So we had, I'd say, a kind of mix. I think the majority of people were kind of playing the starter deck pluses.
Yeah.
But the top cut were all players with kind of proper built decks.
Yeah. It's certainly going to be interesting for us, having been to a couple of Road to Regional, to see what the Manchester Regional pans out like. You know, there were 12 people at the Manchester Road to Regional, but probably only 3 or 4 of them had serious constructed decks.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who comes to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll be there. So, I think what it does is, because the prize support is so good, it will attract people to buy in on the day as well. Yeah. Because they say buy a starter deck for 20 quid, but if you come top 8, you make 50 quid back anyway.
Yeah,
so it's not bad just for that. And of course, so everyone gets boosters, and there's like we had like a raffle as well for these really cool, like they were like framed pictures of cards.
Oh yeah,
signed by like Benny and Chris, and by a couple of the artists as well. Yeah. So I think there's something for everyone as well, and they come.
It'd be really nice to win one of those.
I was hoping to win one myself.
All right, cool. So do you want to just give us a bit more of a round by round then?
Yes.
Tournament, yeah. Did you have a buy in the first round? You said. Yeah?
I did have a buy. Yeah.
Where did you win that then?
I won that at Ashford in the Road to Regional at the Consulting Gamer.
Yeah.
So that was a 6-player tournament, that one.
Yeah.
And that was 3 rounds there, and that was that was really good too. Again, those players, most of them were starter deck pluses, but they were all like really keen players.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good to kind of meet the community and just show that there's there's a kind of scene outside your local club scene as well. There's a kind of bigger, like the road to regionals and then regionals and nationals and stuff like that. Kind of gives
bigger going on.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so so round one I had to buy.
Yeah.
My second round was against Zuna, so it's a tech deck,
Yeah.
and it was pretty much like a buffless Zuna deck.
Okay.
Which I think that can be one of my hardest matchups because consistently, if they could play 12 damage a turn, Looper, Fumbling Alchemist, Friendly Kreebal, Fumbling, just it's very difficult to kind of mitigate this damage off.
Yeah.
But ultimately, though, once Forgewall came out and the emergency systems came out, I was just able to grind my opponent down. He had very few attack cards left.
Yeah.
You just had to pass and keep Zunering. So I was drawing off of this as well. And I feel like he ran a time collapse in his deck, but very early on he used it and he just didn't have I was just able to heal that right back up. So rather than finish me off.
It's certainly one thing that we've become aware of is that you don't want to be doing too much damage before you can do all of the damage.
Yeah, lethal damage, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just giving them an opportunity to heal it back up. So.
That's it. I was speaking to him afterwards and I told him, next time we want to make sure you use time collapse to finish it off because there were points when I had about 9 to 8 health left.
Yeah,
like,
and that would have finished you.
Yeah, but playing it when I've got like 30 life or maybe 28 life and putting me down to like 14.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but then I just Boulder Feast, heal for 6, play down emergency system, and then I'm back to like 27 next turn. Yeah, so it's like that. All that damage is just gone. You know.
Yeah. So was it 3 matches per round as well?
It was 3 matches.
3, yeah.
And I won those 2. I won those 2 straight. So that was pretty good. Yeah. So then round 3 was against the shop owner, who I lost to.
Right. Yeah.
So I met him again in the final, but he was playing a Dolo deck, and it was brutal because he had all the options to deal with my deck. So he had Crushing Blow straight away, so he was able to remove my Sleepy Crab Staff.
Yeah.
So a lot of my draw support disappeared very early on. And he had Weapons Master as well, so we kept sending him back to the deck.
Yeah.
And what he was able to do was he was able to use Dolo very quickly to draw cards, and then pretty much like a reverse Granite, just consecutively comboed me turn by turn.
Right. Yeah.
10 damage, 8 damage, 10 damage. I just couldn't take it, so I lost both rounds straight there. And
Dolo's quite a popular hero as well, isn't he?
He was, yeah. I think the 2 most popular heroes there were Dolo and Zuna.
Yeah.
By far. So that was a really tough matchup for me, and I was resoundingly beaten there, pretty much. Just like 2 straight games. Didn't even deck out. So he kind of knew how to target the deck down pretty hard.
Yeah. After the first round that you lost, did you make any changes from your sideboard or?
Yeah. So after the first round, I sided out. Basically, I sided out Crushing Blow every game because I no longer needed it. But the reason why it was in the deck in the first place is that I was unsure how long the games would take, and if my opponent was playing a dual color deck, I wasn't sure. Say if I'd lost the first round, that there would be time enough in the second round to finish that game. So I thought I'd rather have Crushing Blow in just in case. Yeah. And I mean, it deals 14 damage anyway with Granite, so it's not a bad card at all. But I'd often side it out for like Streamer Tantos just for the heal and for the defend damage as well. Yeah. My 4th round was against the Storm deck. Is it Malia or Malaya? She's the starter deck. Hero.
I think the pronunciation of a lot of these is questionable.
Yeah, but that was really good. And she was at that point she'd won her 3 rounds, and it was just a pretty good Storm deck. It utilized things like Stormwall. A lot of players because a couple of Storm decks made it through to top 8, and a couple of new players had real difficulty dealing with Stormwall because you can't use your attack buff removal to remove it, except for the second and third. And but I play tested a lot against Storm. I have my own Storm deck, and it just didn't deal sustained damage to wear Granite out. So I was just able to hit it, and I won pretty decisively, like a 2-0 victory.
Yeah. I think a lot of the decks that we're seeing as well, because of the intro pack being Storm versus Tech, a lot of people will get that and then we'll start building on that. So I think Tech and Storm seem to be quite well used at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that a lot of good Tech cards are all commons as well.
Yeah.
Like Loopers and Fumbling Alchemists and Chronomoths, all these cards are common and they all make it into like the top decks. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for new players to start. With something good.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next round after that was that 1, 2, 3, 4. So my fifth round, my final round before Top Cut was against another Dolo deck.
Right.
But this time, my opponent wasn't really too aware of what Granite did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until kind of near the end of the first game when it kind of clocked what was happening, and it was just too late at that point.
Yeah.
He didn't really use Dolo's ability either. I think he was just wary that he didn't want to reduce down his life too much.
Right.
For it, but without that speed, I was able to draw through very quickly. I also had some really good hands that game. I think I drew most of my Ancient Miners like within the first 2 turns.
Right.
So I had like all 3 Ancient Miners on the field. So it was like I was drawing like at least 3 cards a turn just from these guys just spinning away. Yeah, it was really good round. Yeah, and I won 2-0 there.
Right. Yeah. I think you just mentioned it then. This is what kind of makes a game like this really interesting. You know, there's the strategy behind putting your deck together, and then of course you have to be a good player. You have to execute your deck in the best possible way. But then there's always that luck factor. You know, what do I do? Is it at the right time? You know, and that's what keeps it interesting. I think.
That's it. Yeah. Like if I open my hand with, I normally like to open my hand with the Tantosian because you get the free action. Of course, I can bring out. I don't always bring out Sleepy Crab Staff first. It depends what the rest of my hand's like. Sometimes I'll bring out Forgewall just to get the emergency systems into play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like a Mountain Fort for damage reduction, 1 Boulder Feast just in case, and 1 Crystal Leech in case they. Sometimes Dread like to play these first turn cards. Like there's one where I can't remember. It's a combo buff where they play a card, draw a card.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff can be like it gives them such an advantage. They'd be difficult for Granite to recover.
Yeah.
So being able to remove those early game, that's my kind of ideal hand, really. I don't mind about the blue draw support right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It's just as long as it kind of comes before the bottom of the deck.
Yeah.
That would be.
With you saying about the emergency systems as well, I think I had one of those in a tech deck that I was playing a while ago, and what I found was that I'd play it on the table, and of course it triggers when they next attack you.
Yeah.
So they just wouldn't attack me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They just don't attack you. Yeah, and
eventually they get removal, and you lose it. So, is that
no, it triggers,
you saw as well?
Yeah, it triggers before the removal.
Oh, of course, yeah, because
because it recognizes the next attack first.
Yeah.
So so even if they're going to, so what you can do is you can play down an emergency system or 2. I had a couple of like spike hills for 14 in a few games, and then you can start laying down all your other buffs. Like you can just get out just some silly things with like 2 Hurricane Spirits out and Ancient Minds. You can fill your board with buffs, and then it's like if they remove it, you're going to heal for 14.
Yeah.
And then with Unruly Mob out, they can only play that card, and they're going to take a point of damage at this point. So sometimes they don't. It flusters your opponent. They don't really know what to do, and of course, the longer that they do nothing, the better that is for the Granite deck.
Yeah.
Yep, and that was
so that was
rounds there. Yeah, so that was the 5 rounds. So I went 4-1. Losing to Dolo, and then top 8. So my very first game was against another Storm deck, Cloud King Kashi. He rotates your buffs 1 step forward, and again that was a pretty decisive victory. I won 2-0. The first game though, early on he hit me pretty hard. He was throwing out all the damage really quick.
Yeah.
He got me down to about 6 or 7 life.
Right. Okay.
And then I was able just to. This was a time when I had Forgewall out before Sleepy Crab Staff, and then emergency system, and I was basically able to heal right back up to the high 20s.
Yeah.
And he had nothing left. He'd spent,
Of course,
he'd kind of thrown all his attacks out. at the sake of his combos. So he wasn't really playing the combos. He was just trying to whittle it down, and he was just left with no hand.
Yeah, this is what I was saying before about, you can go hard at the start if you've got the opening hand, but if you don't have enough damage to actually finish them off, then you're just risking the fact that you don't draw any more damage.
That's it. Yeah, you're just throwing away resource.
Yeah.
And I think Chaz, who Settler's the guy who was in the final, was very good at not doing this. He knew when to hold off. To make maximum use of his resources.
Yeah.
So that was good. My top 4 game, I was against Cassini, Astral, and I play tested a lot against this deck because I thought that Astral was going to have a bit more of a turnout than it did. I think there were only a couple of Astral decks there.
Yeah.
And I think my opponent kind of had semi-resigned himself to defeat before it began. I think he was very tired, but it was there just wasn't too much he could do. I was just drawing up, and then he misplayed right near the end, and by emptying his hand.
Right. Okay.
And I had 2 Hurricane Spirits on the field.
Yeah.
So what I did is I'm going to double pass to draw 2, and then he was like, right, well, I'm going to double pass and draw 2, and I was like, right, well, I'm going to activate Hurricane Spirit and send those 2 cards back to the deck. And then he was like, right, I have to double pass again. It's like, right, well, I'm going to activate. So play down Stubborn Everok. It's like, right, play another Hurricane. So he missed 3 turns consecutively because he had no cards in his hand, and I was just able to accumulate pretty much, 9/3 of my deck.
Yeah.
Just
like
that.
I think this is possibly something that people don't realize as well, is that the more cards you have in your hand, the more you can react to.
Yes.
I think a lot of people like to play cards rather than drawing cards. I think if anything, I prefer the other way. I'd rather be drawing more cards because then I've got more to deal with what happens.
Yeah, that's it. You need to draw cards in this game. And like I said, I often feel like if I'm playing against an opponent, as we were saying before, who are just throwing attack cards early game, reducing their hand size right down, often I feel like I've got this, because I know that I can weather it. And it's like I know that for the next kind of early to mid game, they're just going to be passing a lot.
Yeah.
And, that's exactly how I like it. Because if my opponent passes, rather than me do anything, I just pass right back and draw 2. So, because that's an advantage for me, as well as having the 2 cards. It thins the deck dramatically. So that was really good. And my opponent did manage to play a black hole the very last game, to remove all my buffs.
Yeah.
But again, the thing is that because Granite is so responsive on your opponent's turn, he played black hole. I healed for 7, and then he took 12 damage, and then I reduced the damage from black hole. I think black hole deals 9 damage.
Right.
Down to 6. He takes 12. I heal for 7, and but I removed my buffs, and then I was just able to play down like a Shattered Earth and deal the 17 damage there.
Yeah.
But I really like Cassini. I think he was a little bit unlucky with his draws as well. Sometimes he couldn't quite maximise the effect of the discard.
Right. Okay.
But I was amazed actually, because like Cassini's ability to deal that 3 damage got around emergency system because it's not an attack.
Right.
So there were and Shapeshifter, which is like a defend card. There were a couple of cards that were dealing me damage that weren't attacks, and I was a bit worried about how if my whole life was going to go down without triggering emergency system at all.
Yeah. I know there's quite a few cards, aren't there, I think, where they trigger when you're attacked, and you'll get people, they'll do damage to you, but then it's not an attack. So, for example, Regen Chamber, of course. Oh no, actually no, sorry, I think I'm wrong there. It does when it's damage, isn't it? But I think there are cards anyway out there where they only trigger when it's an attack, and people think that when they've done damage to you, that counts as an attack. But
well, like Ramparts will deal the 1 if you get attacked, right?
That's the one I'm thinking of.
But you can still deal them out damage without the attack. Like Streamer Tantos as well is a good one because he did play Subjugator on me in the first game.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, or maybe it was the second game actually because I would have sided it in. But there was like Streamer Tantos, and then I could play my buff as well, so I could kind of get around this, not being able to attack for a couple of turns.
Yeah.
just with the defend cards and the combos.
Yeah, excellent. And then on to the final.
Yeah, exactly. Which was probably the most exhausting game of Lightseekers I ever played.
Yeah.
So I lost the first game of the final.
Right. Okay.
And again, pretty decisively.
Presumably, at this point, you were thinking, "Well, I lost to this guy earlier."
Yeah, that's it.
So good.
Yeah, this is the story of the comeback kid here, because I lost it and I thought, and it was pretty much exactly the same as it went before. Early game crushing blow, weapon master. He targeted down all my draw support very early on, so I probably didn't maximize Hurricane Spirits or Ancient Miners. And he plays Magma Worm, which reduces healing, but because it does the 1 point of damage, it ticks my Mountain Fort.
Right.
So that spins it. Basically, it's fine. You've played down a card, you can spin my Mountain Fort completely round.
Yeah.
And then he was just able to dolo loads and hit me consecutively with combos.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh god, this isn't good. So, so next game I sided in Streamer Tantos, removed that because I needed the healing.
Yeah.
And I've moved one Unruly mob for, I think it's Kreebal. Is it Kreebal Informant? He deals the 2 damage to your opponent if they have 5 or more cards.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I think that set off a psychological thing, because all of a sudden he wasn't keeping cards in hand anymore. So I was able to play that down quite early.
Yeah.
And instead of building up big hands, he was very low hand that whole game.
Right. Okay.
And I was able to completely overpower him that game. Granite kind of worked really well, and it drew, and I was able to hit. And of course, I actually managed to get off that 7 damage with Kreebal Informant because Granite's deck was the deck was empty, so I could hit him for 7.
Yeah.
Of course, he had a couple of exterior defenders as well, and these cards are an absolute pain in the butt because I don't attack, so they don't trigger at all really. Maybe you have to throw away a Crystal Leech, like one of your buff removals, to remove it.
Yeah.
But a kind of exterior defender and prism cannon is a good combo, because I have to remove that buff. I basically have to expend 2 Crystal Leeches.
Yeah.
To remove it. Yeah. Or I mean, this Thunder Slug pulled its weight in this game. And then the third game, it came down to we were playing. I managed to empty the deck, and then right at the end, he crushing blowed the Sleepy Crab Star.
Right.
And I couldn't play the Swooping Corvids, and I had no option to play my buffs.
Right. Did they not pay for each other? No.
Early on that game, I had used one of the cards to bait him to. It was the buff card which pays for Shattered Earth.
Right.
Bait him to remove one of his buff removal early, because I put it down and I thought, right, he's either going to take just the regular damage, which I think is 5/5/4/4.
Yeah.
Or he's going to have to remove it, and he did remove it.
Right.
I thought, right, that's 1 less down. So I always mark my opponents whenever they play a buff removal card, because I know that unless they're playing a dual order, they'll have like max 3.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe in tech they might have some warp toads as well, but generally it'll be 3. So at this point, I couldn't play my Avalanche because I no longer had access to it.
Yeah, of course.
And so I'm kind of sitting here, and I think I may have played Streamer Tantos as well, but I didn't have very many cards left in hand. And it came down to I had 9 damage left, and he played is it Crystal Bat that deals me 3 damage, and then he heals for 3.
Yeah.
And Rock Rager for 6 damage if he healed. He thought he had game there. And then Forgewall reduced it, so I'm down to 2 life.
Right.
And he had no cards left in deck. I had no cards left in deck. I wasn't playing anything, so it came down to the deck out rule, where if you don't play, you have to discard a card.
Yeah.
And I had one last card. I had 1 more card left than needed.
Oh, really? So it came that close.
It came down to that. Yeah, I just had Forgewall just left on the field, and he had nothing left, and that was it. Yeah, the very last card.
Right.
And it was exhausting. I couldn't believe it at the end. I just thought, oh man, yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Were there time limits on the games then? That's something we experienced, because at Road to Regionals, I played against a nature deck, which was very much to do with just healing all the way through and firing off one big combo right at the end. And those games took a long time, which meant that we ran out of time.
Right.
Was that something that they had in play there?
Yeah, that's it. So so Swiss rounds were all capped at an hour.
Right. Yeah.
But top 8 there was no time limit.
Ah, right.
so you could play as long as you want. But we did play. I think it was just the final that took ages. The other games in top 8 that I finished well within the kind of 50 minutes.
Yeah.
You kind of expect.
Yeah.
I think only one game went to time in top 8 before that, and that was a nature.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was pretty similar. Like build up all the defense and then go for the attack. That's another good thing about Granite, actually, that I like, because he doesn't do any attacks early game. If your opponent has a lot of heal cards in the deck, it basically renders that whole side of the deck useless.
Yeah.
Because they may heal up for 35 early game,
mm-hmm.
and then they're just sitting on 35. They can't do anything. So all these like heal cards, it just renders it useless. Yeah.
How was the reaction when PlayFusion revealed the new General Carnage card?
Yeah, it was. I think there was big excitement. I think for most of the players, since they were quite new, I don't think it was as a big wow, because they weren't really sure. None of them ran dual order decks or kind of knew the kind of implications of having what a dual order hero could bring. Yeah. But for the few players that kind of knew about it, I think everyone was pretty excited. And straight away, it's like, oh, what can we do here? We can search Crystal Core out, with him, so we can just keep hitting yourself and get Crystal Core. So he's going to be very difficult to kill.
I think something I hadn't twigged as well was that it's actually a different rarity of card. It's got that red. Bottom, and it'll be interesting to see how the distribution works in booster packs and how often they actually come up.
Yeah, that's it. I want to know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. Would it be a kind of like a Pokemon thing where it's kind of between like 5 to 7 kind of chase cards a box? I think they said that there were like 10 new mythic heroes. I don't know if it's just going to be the heroes that are that rarity, or if there'll be cards for it too.
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I wanted to take it home with me, that big card. But I don't think they wanted to let it go. I'm sure it'll be back when they do the reveal in Manchester. That and another one.
Yeah, cool. Go on, Anya.
Could you tell us about the prizes, and have you opened any of like the boosters or anything?
Okay, right. So I don't know. I can't remember the prizes for all of top 8. The first prize was 200 quid cash, 4 booster boxes, and then 2 booster packs for entry as well that everyone got. So that was really cool. I think second place was 3 boosters, 150 cash, and then I think fourth place was 2 boosters, fourth and fifth, or maybe it was,
maybe 5th to 8th was 50 quid and 1 booster, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. They're so there were a couple of guys who they were absolutely chuffed just to be in top 8, because they're like, oh, 50 quid. I only live around the down the road here, and you come out made 50 quid for the day. Yeah, and they were cool. And that was really good. I think the price support is amazing as well. And for me though, the best price support for top 8 was qualification for nationals. Yeah,
and the
because
support for that is just,
it's amazing. And of course that's another prize that you get as well. You get your day entry for the UK Games Expo paid for.
Oh really?
Yeah. So they pay for that, so you can actually go into the tournament. Actually into the venue, that's got something I need to book actually before the hotel spaces run out.
I mean, we've been a few times in the past, and the hotels do book up pretty quickly. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to, sleeping in the bus station again or something like that. Something like that. I've had to do that a couple of times for Pokemon, so I don't really want to do that again. But I guess we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
so have you opened up any of the booster boxes yet, or have you not?
No, I've still got them there. I think I'm going to wait till I get down to my club to do it.
Yeah,
because there's
one of the boxes.
Pardon?
Maybe draft one of the boxes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about drafting one of the boxes. I think I had such a chaotic draft experience last time we drafted that I don't want to say it put me off, but I was just I was like, I pulled a lot of combos in my packs that I had, and I don't think my deck went together very well at all. I did something like put in a mountain combo only to realise that I had no cards to pay for it, and so I didn't pull like another mountain card. And it's like,
I think when Play Fusion last did one on Twitch stream, someone took one of the astral cards, which depended on them having certain elements. And of course, because the cards were so mixed, there was no chance it was ever going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, isn't it? It's some cards really only work if your deck's quite finely tuned for it. Yeah. Especially like if your buff removal is it's like it's the astral one, right, where you need the correct card in the discard to kind of get its maximum effect.
Yeah,
that will almost never happen in the draft because you'll just never pull it.
Yeah.
Maybe I will do a draft. I think I will definitely open them though. There's a few cards I'm after for like a storm deck that I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
Seeing the kind of success of how Stormwall was to a lot of players, and they didn't really kind of know how to get around it. I feel that there's a way you can kind of cheese it a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to be working along this kind of thing and seeing how it goes.
Yeah, excellent. So talking about prizes as well, we're going to do a quick giveaway in this video, if that's all right.
Okay, yeah, cool.
What we're going to ask people to do is comment on this video and tell us, based off of your deck, your winning deck, what would they change if they were to play that deck? See if anyone's got any good ideas. So we're going to be giving away a full set of life tokens to the winner. I think we'll have you pick the winner if that's okay as well.
That sounds wicked.
Have a look at people's ideas and see what you like, and then we'll give them a week to post maybe, and then we'll give those away. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, cool. All right. So everyone watching, if you just post in the comments, and we'll announce a winner in a week's time. So where from here? You mentioned earlier there's a road to regionals coming up. Are you planning on going to all of the regional tournaments as well?
Yeah, I'm planning to do all the regional tournaments.
Yeah.
I just want to meet, as many of the Lightseekers communities as I can.
Yeah.
Everyone's been so good and so enthusiastic as well. That's the best thing about the tournaments. There were people, even if they again just bought trial decks to go into this tournament, they were all keen. No one ever felt obligated. They got really excited, and I think as the day went on, rather than kind of get tired of Lightseekers, they were like, oh yeah, I'd never even heard about this card before. Now I want it in the deck. Yeah. I played a game. The following day, I went to another game shop with a couple of guys who had met at the Lightseekers tournament, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we managed to get a hold of some nukes for our, our tech deck and stuff like that." Because I was like, "Yeah, run nuke is really good."
Yeah, everybody loves nuke when they first see it, and then they get removed so many times.
Yeah, well, this is what I said to them. I was like, "Look, if you play it down, you can bait your opponent, right? You play it down. You play it at the end of the game if you've been keeping track of their buff removal. They've used it all, or you play it kind of like early to mid game, and you say like they're going to have to spend something to get rid of it.
Yeah, if they've drawn it as well, they might not have drawn it yet.
Yeah, and then you can say, right, if they've got rid of it, then that means that my maniacal machines or my bomblings or my colossi cannons are safe. The things that like augment your kind of regular attack turns.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like it. And yeah, that's it. So the enthusiasm, just look forward to doing all the regionals, as many road to regionals as I can as well. But I don't want to neglect my club too much as well. So it's kind of going to be a balancing act here about just supporting kind of local play and kind of going out to the world and playing too.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. Wish you the best of luck at all the upcoming tournaments as well. Hopefully we'll be able to see you at Manchester Regionals. I don't know if you've heard, but we've got this one's got a baby sister due 2 days before, so I might be tied up at the hospital. So maybe we'll see you, maybe we won't.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, and congratulations as well.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, thanks again, Jay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.